Okay, welcome everybody to today's first episode of a Golf Genius webinar series. Let's Talk Tech. First episode today, making major upgrades to your club championships. Delighted to say I'm joined by co-host Alex Wood from Golf Genius, Colin Millar from Carus Green Golf Club, and Sean Davidson from the Blairgowrie Golf Club. And we'll introduce them a bit more formally shortly. Before we jump into the presentation itself, get through the boring stuff, just a bit of housekeeping. If you can all please remain on mute with your cameras off during the presentation, that'd be very much appreciated. We will be taking questions at the end via a Q&A. So if you do have any questions at any point during the presentation, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen to submit any questions. And as I say, we will come to those at the end of the presentation. So the agenda for today's webinar, primary focus is all about how Golf Genius has helped elevate big, key, major competitions at both Carus Green and the Blairgowrie Golf Club and some of the features used. So we'll talk about reasons for introducing Golf Genius. We'll focus in a lot of detail on the festival week at Carus Green Golf Club, the various invitation days, member guest events at Blairgowrie Golf Club, many of the leading features of Golf Genius used before, during, and after the event. And as I say, we will finish up with a live question and answer. So to introduce the panel today, myself, Jake Rhodes, many of you on the call, I can see we've had various conversations. Good to see many customers, non-customers on the call today. My role as head of sales at Golf Genius here in the UK. We're also joined by Alex Wood. Alex, if you want to introduce yourself, your role at Golf Genius, and go from there.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. Hello, everyone. My name's Alex, and I am the UK product manager. So I'm responsible for product development, listening to customer feedback, implementing those changes into Golf Genius, and progressively moving the product forward. And yeah, delighted to have Colin and Sean with us as well.
Thank you, Alex. As I say, and backed up by Alex, very happy to be joined by Colin Millar, competition secretary at Carus Green. Colin, if you want to just introduce yourself and some of your roles and responsibilities at the golf club.
Yeah, sure. Started off doing handicap secretary, and then when Club V1, then we moved into Golf Genius. Started taking on the role because I've got a computer background. They're really, it says competition secretary, but I'm Dave's assistant. He's our senior club pro, and he's the one that's responsible for it, and I just help him out on the day-to-day running of Golf Genius in our system.
Very good. Thank you, Colin. And finally, over to yourself, Sean, Assistant Managing Secretary. I believe a recent promotion at the Blairgowrie Golf Club. Go through your sort of background and how you got there.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jake. Great to be here. So I've held the position for about a year now as Assistant Secretary at Blairgowrie Golf Club, which has been a privilege, and it's all basically assisting with all things on at the club. Previously, before that, though, I was competitions secretary as well at the club, so I deal with Golf Genius on a pretty much almost day-to-day, weekly basis. So good experience of that. So yeah, that's basically my background so far at the club.
Great stuff. And just a moment to thank you both for joining us today to share your experiences with Golf Genius. It's very much appreciated as two long-standing customers now. Okay, so objectives of the call today. As I say, we've brought together a number of Golf Genius customers to effectively shine a light on why they've decided to introduce Golf Genius, how they're finding the product is benefiting them, their membership, guests, visitors. So we get that perspective from both a management and a player's perspective. Some of the tools that they're using in Golf Genius to actually help on a day-to-day basis, whether that be to help save time in terms of easing administration, generating revenue through the product, and ultimately improving that member guest experience. And again, finally, why is Golf Genius a good fit for them? Why they made the decisions to introduce the product. And we'll also talk a little bit about some of the integrations we have in place that certainly Colin and the team at Carus Green are benefiting from the relationship with BRS. Okay, so Sean, over to you, I suppose, in terms of, why the club. A number of years ago now, I believe sort of 3 or 4 years ago, when the club initially decided to introduce Golf Genius, some of the main reasons as to coming to that decision, how the product's evolved for you from there in terms of, I know you were possibly only running sort of 10 events in maybe the first year, and how that's increased now to upwards of 30 plus major competitions at the club each year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think it was back in, must be 2021 now, 2020, 2021. We decided to have a look at the system. Obviously, I think yourself at the time, Jake. And obviously, at Blairgowrie, we wanted to elevate what we offer in terms of our visitor competitions, our open competitions, and our member visitor experiences. And a lot of the functionality that Golf Genius provided was going to enable us to do that. So we had a good look at it. And obviously, as you said, we started off with our open competitions. But gradually, as we've gone on into the years 2022, 2023, we've developed upon that. We've used a bit more. We've used a fully integrated system now where you enter and we go through the whole process on Golf Genius. I know at the start we didn't. We kind of had a CSV file and we can upload it, but we've now got this full start to finish system now. It's very succinct. It's very tidy. It's very good from a user perspective, and it's very good from an admin perspective. So it's helped us raise the profile of our events. They've certainly taken off over the last few years. We've got now a good core and a good, we've got waiting lists for the vast majority of some of our open competitions, and it's partly because of what we do and partly because of what we're able to do with the Golf Genius software. So it's been a big part of us being able to raise our standards. So basically, that was when we first had the initial conversations. That was what we saw, and that has taken its course over the last 3 or 4 years.
Great stuff. Thanks for that, Sean. And Alex, if you want to perhaps introduce the work that you've done with Colin and the team at Carus Green regarding the sort of integration with BRS, and again, Colin, get some of your feedback on how the product's helping you.
Yep, of course, Jake. Well, slightly different setup at Carus Green compared to Blairgowrie. Carus Green are using what we call the BRS integrated product, where the BRS system is kind of the main database and is feeding data into Golf Genius, and there are various integration points, such as the master roster, so the membership list that BRS has is feeding into Golf Genius, tee sheets, so to save time, we can import the golfers from BRS. But Colin, how was your impressions of implementing Golf Genius? We did it back in January 2023, I believe. So it's
it was run by then. Basically, I found it very simple to start with. And one of the biggest things we had before was whenever we were running the club competitions, getting the names from BRS into what we had before just didn't happen the same. So it was a lot more manual intervention on the system, where now, basically, people put the names on BRS. We'd pull the names across from BRS, typically the night before an event, put those into the tee sheet. That all then comes up. We enable the mobile applications, so then they can use the mobile apps for the scoring through their system. And it's like you've mentioned, you've got the two versions here, what Blairgowrie use and what we use. So we've got the, I think you call it the blue version of the mobile app, which is the one for BRS. Yeah, and that's working very nicely. Initially, whenever you bring something new in, people are going, oh, what are we doing this for? Well, if you don't do change, it ain't going to improve, guys. And I think that most of them now have found, yes, it is improving.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Great. So thanks, Colin. And yeah, just to sort of echo what we've said there at Blairgowrie, very much using it for a lot of the major tournaments, Sean, whereas as Colin, I believe at Carus using it for pretty much everything now, knockouts, open competitions, member competitions, all the way through to the odd golf day. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think from our side of things, it did start with open competitions, as I say, Jake, but now we do a lot of society days, a lot of charity days through it as well. It gives a good experience for those people coming in and using the club as well. So it has evolved how we've used it as well at the club, and it's been certainly elevated these events and given it more of a personal feel to them, which has been a benefit to the club.
Over to you, Alex. Talk a little bit about the festival week that we'll focus on at Carus Green.
Yeah, so Colin, really.
I'll kick it off if you want. We were very lucky because I put it to Alex, must have been in 23 itself, because we started off with the club version of the software to start with. And then I'd been messing around, had a look at what premium could do for us, and asked, could we try the premium during our festival week? And literally, there was no going back after that. As soon as the owner had seen what was going on, he said, yes, we'll have the premium edition. And during our festival week, we run the major thing of the whole thing is a pro-am on the Saturday. But during that whole week, we've got seniors 4-ball, better balls, best 2 from 4, Texas scrambles. And we had over 600 golfers playing in that. and it was made so much simpler by the software we had available to us at the time. To pick a tournament, it's so easy to set a tournament up in this system, and it saves it for you, so you can come back and use it again later on in other events, other rounds, and it makes life so much simpler that way.
Excellent. Well, I know it's quite a complicated week, that festival week, so it's good that you are kind of using Golf Genius to its full capacity. So yeah, I think, Jake, we can probably move on to the next slide.
So yeah, a little bit of information here, Sean, about the different invitationals that you're running at the club. So you've got the ladies, gents, senior ladies, Texas Scramble, mixed invitational. We can see there's certainly a mix of format types that Colin's referenced there as well. So yeah, if you want to give a little bit of insight as to how Golf Genius is used across these events, and yeah, just a bit of general insight to the events themselves, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as I say, you've got 5 there who are member competitions, so that's giving a good overview of what we can do in terms of that. It's got different formats within it, as Jake lightly says. You've got 4-ball better balls, you've got 4-ball better ball Stableford's, some stroke plays, you've got Texas Scrambles there. We've got one coming up next week, actually, that's a charity event. That's a cha-cha-cha, which is a 1-score, 2-score, 3-score. So you've got all these different tournaments that you can pull across, and a lot of them can run in conjunction with each other as well. You can have singles competitions and team competitions running over the same competition. You have to set it up slightly differently, and it comes through on the screens in the clubhouse, which has been a really good thing, and we've used that before as well. So as I say, these go live for us around February time, and then all the members, they sign up with their guests, and it all goes through the same system. It all goes through a directory, which I think we'll possibly get onto later on, but it all pulls through, and then they'll sign up, and all we have to do from our side of things is to make sure everybody's in the right place, double check the CDH numbers that are provided, and then we just run all the competitions in terms of the tournament setup. We can get printed scorecards, printed T-sheets, email communication. It's been a massive tool for us in terms of how we communicate with all participants. Golf Genius takes care of all of that stuff, and has been hugely beneficial. And the reports we get back when we run these events, all these invitationals again this year, has been very positive. And it's having that the screens on the day all set up with the Amazon Fire Sticks and the app, and making it that good feel around the place. It raises the profile of it, and as I said earlier, and the feedback has been really positive, and it's based down to the system and how we got it set up, which is good.
And just quickly on that, I suppose one of the differences between what you're doing and what Colin's doing at Carus Green is that you're actually utilising Golf Genius alongside another system that you have in place at the club. How have sort of members reacted to obviously having an additional booking platform in place? Have they sort of seen the benefits of it in terms of the overall picture across your sort of key member tournaments as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it kind of using that different system, it almost makes it feel slightly different and raises the profile slightly of those competitions as well. And the booking process at the start, like Colin touched upon earlier, change can be a terrifying thing for some people. But again, to raise the profile of these events and to have them the way we have had them, people have adapted really well. And the positive, now we're in year 3 almost, the feedback is really positive. At the start, there was the odd question to be asked, but once we got through that, once we all got through that stage, everybody sees it. They all like the system. They actually want us to probably run more things on the system for them, like New Year scrambles and stuff like this when we get to January and stuff. And we have done that in the past. So they like using the system. They like using the app. They like using having a wee account to sign in and edit. It's all these little features that just raises the profile of the event, as we said, and comes across really well to the members and the visitors.
Good. No, it's good. It's interesting that, both yourself and Colin, you both actually touched on the fact that, perhaps in a slightly different way, but Colin, through BRS, you started out utilising the Club Plus product, which is, a slightly less advanced version of Golf Genius. Sean, you started out just using the product for your opens, and it's interesting that you've both gone on to then upgrade. And I think, it's one of the ethos that we follow at Golf Genius is crawl, walk, run, and it's always a good place to start and build yourself into the product more and more as time goes on. It's good to see that you've both adapted that, which is good. Okay, so going to some of the actual features now of Golf Genius in a little bit more detail, as to how, features you're utilising before, during, after the event. So Alex, I'll quickly hand over to you and let you talk a little bit about the BRS integration, and Colin, how this works from your perspective as an operator and for the members.
Mm-hmm.
So with the BRS integration, as we touched upon earlier, there are different integration points. The master roster pulling in that membership list that we discussed. There are different styles of tee sheet integration. We started off the product with the daily sync. So every day, Golf Genius will refresh the tee sheet from BRS with any new bookings, changes, and so on. However, we are in the process of phasing in our new instant tee sheet sync, which will mean that the daily sync is a thing of the past, and basically any booking that happens in BRS will instantly transfer through to Golf Genius, and that will have significant benefits to running competitions and provide a lot more flexibility on the day. We've had draw competitions implemented for several years now, so that allows people to book into BRS. Golf Genius does the draw, whether that's handicap order, random, manual, or any other variation. We can then sync that draw back to the BRS tee sheet, and everyone receives an email with their tee time. Something I know Carus do a lot of, and probably more than most other clubs in the country, is open competitions. There's 30, 40 competitions a year, I think.
Yeah, there is now.
And again, we pull through members and visitors, and recently we added extra data fields into the open competition integration. So we pull through things like home club of the visitors. So useful information there for finding handicaps, perhaps on WHS, or even displaying additional information on the leaderboard. Just small, subtle touches that do elevate your competitions for the golfers. And then the last integration point is the members app. Now, the BRS product slightly differs to the orange product, as we call it, the Golf Genius product, because for the members themselves, their BRS login will give them access to all areas within BRS and Golf Genius. So it does make that process a lot smoother and seamless. Colin, is there anything you want to add from the experience at Carus there?
Just to say that integration between the two systems to get into the app, because if I tried to give our members another login, they would just go cuckoo with it. You know, they've got enough logins in their life and passwords and things to remember. So it's great that we just go into the BRS app, select the orange bar, and that takes us straight into the BRS scoring app. So that's brilliant that way. The rest of it, I mean, it's like you said about the synchronization process, because bringing people onto BRS, that's all they have to do. After that, it's the background admin work for Dave and I to sort out and make sure those tee sheets are then sent out to everyone afterwards. So that is very simple for us to do now that way.
Great stuff. And then once, you've obviously, in terms of from your side, Colin, once you've obviously ran those events, I believe you utilize directories. Sean will come to you shortly in terms of what we can see on the screen here in terms of using this for registration. But Colin, I believe you use the online directories for presenting final results once you've actually hosted those events. So obviously you take booking via BRS, but then present the final competition results via Golf Genius.
Yeah, because it was one of the complaints we had from people who'd come to some of our opens. Said, well, where do we find the results? And we've made it much easier now. They've got a link on our main Carus Green website. They go there and they can pull off all the open results on there. Plus, also all our internal competition results are on there for the members. So it's another easy place for them to get to. So they don't always have to use the tiny little mobile to get all the information. It's on the big screens for them as well. And I've also used exactly the same thing, because I'm also a referee for the Faldo series, and we use this process events on the Faldo series as well.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, I believe they've been a customer for a number of years now, which seems to be going down very well. And Sean, from your side, also we've got an example on the screen here. So do you want to talk us through that sort of process in terms of, golfers getting to this page here that, they can see your list of competitions and how members or visitors from an open competition perspective go ahead and book into those tournaments? Have you found that this has sort of helped you easily promote and find golfers online, adding this to the website and things?
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. Funnily enough, I was actually looking at this for 2025 this morning, and it's basically you just add a directory, you create all your events, you tick them all in, and it comes up with this bulk list of all your competitions in date order. and it tells you when they open and when they close, and when they are closed, as you can see in front of you now. And all you do is you take that link and you pop it on your club website. That's what we do. We pop it on our club website, and there's an opens tab there, and it just takes them directly to this page, and they can go down. They can click on each event they wish to have a look at. It's like a little view tab, and they can see the tee sheets and all the results as well after the competition. So when they click view, they see all the rules of that competition, all the different bits and bobs that are going to happen on that day. And as you say, afterwards, you can see the mixed foursomes one there, gives you the tee sheet and the results afterwards. So it's a one-stop shop really for that, and it's been really good in terms of we used to have a more bespoke system to do it. This has been a lot tidier to get us on the system on our website, and as I say, it's a one-stop shop for all your open needs really at the club.
Great stuff. And as you say, going from the event directory straight into event registration, a couple of screenshots on the screen there that we've taken from your account. So obviously when people go through to each one of those events, they're then selecting a preferred tee time. Do you have events where you don't do tee time selection? So any tournaments where you may have a ballot, for instance, where it's handicapped and sent out in handicap order? Do you do anything like that? Or are most of your tournaments tee time selection and then payment once they've selected their times?
All the ones that we look at, Jake, certainly are. So you basically you'll pick your tee time, and then you'll obviously make payment as well at the time. So we use that as well there. But then if it becomes full and there's no tee times left, I think the important one there is actually the fourth one, is it does an automatic waiting list for you, and that's something that we've used at the club as well. So if somebody does then withdraw, you can then get somebody back in quite quickly, automatically. You take them an order, and there's no dubiety about this person got in first, this person. It gives you an order. The next person goes into that next slot, and it's nice and tidy from an admin perspective, nice and tidy from a user perspective, and you get all your slots filled for your open, which is beneficial. That's what we want to do. So, as I say, the process itself, as I say, it's evolved over the 3 years we've used it again, or 2 years that we've actually used this actual part of it. We started off using obviously a CSV file for the first year, but then once we got into it, we did this system, and it's been highly beneficial, to be honest with you. As I say, people have come in, and once everything goes live on a certain date, you can see the emails coming in that everybody's registering on, and the feedback from that's been positive as well. So it's all worked well for us, certainly.
Great stuff. And Colin, from your side, I know majority of the time members and visitors for your open competitions are obviously booking times directly in via BRS and utilising that integration. But have you got any examples or any events where you have utilised Golf Genius from a registration standpoint and seen the benefit of things like waiting lists and pending registration?
Yeah, certainly with events some of the social events we've done for Christmas lunches and things like that. We've run that through the system because we want payment from them. So we put them on a pending list until they've actually given us payment, and then we move them into the confirmed list. So it's a good way for the social secs to actually organise who has paid, who hasn't paid, and things like that. So that's what we've used that for so far.
Very good. Good to see you getting a sort of extra use out of that. It is something that many of our customers, certainly in the first instance, don't see the benefit of in terms of managing their social events. But yeah, it's great to see that you are starting to do a bit more of that. It's quite a powerful tool for social events as well. Very good. And then coming on to some of the communication channels within Golf Genius, obviously free as part of a subscription with Golf Genius Tournament Management is text messaging and email communication. So just on the left-hand side of the screen here, we've got a couple of examples of text message templates. So for instance, the first one, farthest left, is just regarding sharing tee time information, live scoring codes, players in your group, all utilizing the smart fields. And then the sort of text message screen on the right-hand side is in case of any weather delays, text messaging works very well. Getting communication out to golfers very quickly. And then furthest right, we've obviously got an example of an email, Sean, that you're sending out with final results. So Colin, not too sure you utilise the communication tools so much. I know BRS have got that element covered, but from your side, Sean, very briefly, I believe you've got quite a large sort of template of communication tools. So just maybe provide a bit of sort of insight as to how you're utilising the communication tools and what sort of benefit you're getting from it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually two emails we send per event, really, to be honest with you, on that one, and we've got a big database of ones we use. But basically, you can give the person their playing partners, their tee time, their Golf Genius identification code for their app as well. You can send that across, and any information that you want them to know on the day. For example, report 10 minutes earlier to a certain place, or if there's a a catering element to your day, you can write it in that email and send out to them. So we've got a big database of these, and they all get sent before the event as well. If you want to do reminders the day before, you can set it to send again, and you just set it as a reminder, and you can send it again. And the second one is actually to send the tee sheet and the format of the day. We send the tee sheet, the format of the day via a link or a file as well, which is another emailing tool that we send out with all our competitions as well. Really good. The replies come straight back to the email address that you send it from as well. And it's good for communicating with all the players, which has been really good for our side of things.
So, and Colin, don't know if you've got to add from social opens maybe as well.
No, we don't use the text messaging, but we certainly use the emails quite regular. And especially one of the best ones with the emails I'm thinking of is something Alex helped us set up, was the automatic responses for knockout competitions. That has worked very well and saves us a lot of work at the end of the day. As they move from one round into the next round and so on, it sends out the information, who they're playing next and all the rest of it. So that's been very handy.
Great stuff. Yeah, it certainly helps when, like you say, golfers are doing certain things all on their own. It saves you having to jump on there and check for activity like that. As the system's looking after that. Great to hear that you're getting value from that across knockout tournaments as well. Okay, moving on to some of the features that we're utilising during the event. Alex, I'll sort of hand over to you. I know you worked very closely on setting the terminal up, and Colin, from your side, obviously you have a couple of these in operation at Carus Green. Just let you to talk a little bit about how the terminal's working for you.
Colin, you're operating 2 terminals at the club from our discussion. I think one in the pro shop and one in the foyer at the golf club. Do they do different tasks? Do people
not really
check in and score entry via the foyer?
No, the main we always had a terminal from the other system in the foyer anyway. And that was the initial when we started with Golf Genius. And it just became apparent that if you got 150 people on a Saturday and the people were hanging around, so we then went and purchased another smaller unit, and we have that handy in the pro shop on Dave's desk. If they sign in and he says, "Have you signed in?" "Oh, no, I haven't," then they can just do it there without having to wander back across. So it was just to give us that extra option. But basically, we're using them for the same thing. They can put the scores on there afterwards. But most of the time, I think we're almost at 100% now, where everyone's putting the scores in on the mobile app, and that saves Dave, myself, a lot of work at the end of the day, and we get the results instantly then.
Very good. I think something to I've just seen a question come through in the chat, and I think something to emphasize is that we can install our software onto any hardware. It's just a web link that we have, and that gives you full functionality within Golf Genius. So you can use existing hardware, or you can update. We have a recommended supplier as well. Some of the imagery we have on screen is actually using that recommended hardware. So there's quite a few options available to different golf clubs, but we do understand how important terminals are for UK golf and further afield as well. And a lot of resources and time and effort has been added and used on our terminal. So it's come a long way. There's a bit more to go, but we're pretty happy with where it is these days.
Yeah, I mean, just sort of coming on that, obviously it mentions here, Colin, utilising the terminal across all sort of stroke play stable for tournaments, whether it be single, pair, teams. Obviously, something we've recently developed at the start of this year is label printing. Is that something you use, or have you not gone down the road of actually rolling out label printing just yet?
Yeah, we haven't gone down that way yet.
Okay, very good.
Slowly, catchy monkey.
Yeah, I think again it always comes back to that.
I'm working on them.
Good, good. Certainly help with working out people's playing handicaps for them, because I know there's still a bit of confusion amongst golfers at times. Okay, so coming on to sort of the tournament library, I know we touched on this briefly at the start of the call about the different tournaments that you're using Golf Genius for and the flexibility you found. Sean, you mentioned about a cha-cha-cha running a sort of 1 to count, 2 to count, 3 to count. But Colin, from your side, any tournaments, events that Golf Genius has started helping you with that perhaps you couldn't do before? Maybe any that you've sort of discovered we're not able to do as yet?
No, certainly we've got a far more choice of tournaments we've got set up. So I've got a tournament library already set up with about 15 different tournaments on it. Cha-cha-chas that Sean's doing is one of the ones on there. And sometimes we do a 1-2-3, and sometimes we do a 3-2-1. And it's all set up that way. We do the stroke index, 3-6s and things like that. And the yellow ball. There's ways to set up all of these competitions in the system. We've certainly, within the senior section, we use it week in, week out, because we alternate all these different competitions around, and it makes it so much easier. It's one of the strange things is you've just got to get used to some of the Americanisms on there, like deuces and cha-cha-cha. We know what we call it, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, we're slowly getting to less and less Americanisms in the product, which is always a good thing for us here in the UK. And Sean, from your side, some of the tournaments that perhaps, as I say, you're now able to run in Golf Genius that perhaps you weren't able to, and how's the sort of member reaction been to now being able to run all these interesting formats using a platform?
Yeah, I touched upon it earlier, really, because a two-person scramble was something we actually hadn't run or didn't have the ability to run on another platform. So we have a New Year scramble now that we're doing, obviously, in the first couple of days in January, and the members use it primarily, and obviously, and we run a two-person scramble, and that gets really good feedback. Again, having all the screens on, having that ability to do that has been fantastic. But as Colin rightly says, there's a number of different tournament formats. Some of them that you didn't even think of until you go through the list that you could actually do. And I say I'd probably just scrape the surface of that, really using it with what I'm using it for, mainly with the Opens. But there certainly are some interesting ones in there, and some good ones that you could really utilise and have some fun with.
No, it's interesting, Colin. You mentioned there the seniors, potentially changing the format every single week. We do see, a lot of our customers rolling out sort of winter leagues and things to try and keep participation up through the sort of quieter periods, because again, changing the format, making it a bit more fun. Is that something that either of you do at the golf clubs in terms of winter leagues, or something you've considered doing?
Yeah, definitely. We've got the winter league running. It will be starting in about 2 weeks' time. And on the same thing, just to highlight to people as well, when we're talking about tournaments as well, when you have a game on a Saturday, it's not just one tournament we're running. We're sometimes running 3 or 4 tournaments in there combined, because we have the race to Carus that Alex knows quite well from our place. Is a series of Stableford's, medals, etc. throughout the whole year. And then we've got a team element in that and a season point element in there. And they're all in the system already. And what's really good about it is I've just done 2025. It took me 10 minutes cloning the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, that's how simple it was there.
Good. That's what we like to hear, making things a little bit easier. How about from your side, Sean? You do anything like that from a winter league for the membership, or thought about introducing anything like that?
We don't currently use that, but it's certainly something that we're always looking to develop. So it's, there's possible discussions for something in 2025 actually ongoing at the moment. So to do with our week or so, potentially we might start introducing that. And again, it's just gradually building upon what we use year on year to keep on giving that good service to the members.
Great stuff. Moving on to sort of TV displays, I believe both of you utilise TV displays on TV screens up and around the clubhouse. Sean, I certainly know that you utilise the Golf Genius app on the Fire Stick, so Fire TV Stick provided by Amazon. Obviously, Golf Genius free to download on there. Again, Colin, happy to start with you. In terms of how you utilise the screens, number of screens you've got around the club, how it's sort of helped with member engagement, golfer engagement, and the sort of
this is a work in progress. Yeah. We're using Fire Sticks. It's a work in progress. I'm trying. The owner said I can have another TV screen. They just haven't bought it yet, because I want to put that in the main sports lounge and get it up there, because we have it in the sports shop and a couple of other places. So we've got about 4 Fire Sticks we can utilize throughout the system, and certainly during the Pro-Am and things like that, it was very useful. They like to see the results up in the system, and if you have the running leaderboard, even better.
Great stuff. And Sean, tee times, leaderboard display. I know you do a number of golf days, so sponsor information. How are you sort of utilising the TV screens up and around the clubhouse? I know you've got a pretty big clubhouse up at Blairgowrie.
Yeah, no, we've worked quite hard on how our days look, how the participants are going to run through the clubhouse. And so basically, as we go into the clubhouse, on the left-hand side, there's a registration desk, and that's got a screen behind it. So we have a screen directly behind the registration desk when you come in, so you can see the tee times, and when you're handing your scorecard back, you've got the screen there. You can see the results coming in. The people are using the app. You can see where they are, if they're on hole 14 and what their score is as well. But we've also got one in the bar area as well. We've got a fast stick in the bar area as well. So if you're sitting having in the bar, relaxing after your round, you can keep a close eye on what's going on with what's coming in. So it engages the players, it maybe keeps them around in the clubhouse for a bit longer as well, which is always beneficial to your other departments within the club. And it's just provides an all-round bit of an exciting feel to the day. If somebody's leading or in second place and they want to keep a close eye on what's going on, and obviously they've got these functionalities on their app as well when they leave the club, but to have it at the club, it makes it look good, and it's certainly something that's been spoken about before. Has been a good feature that we have at our Open. So we'll obviously something we'll continue to do.
Good
I
stuff.
think just to add in there, Jake, and focusing on Carus there, one of the reasons why Carus upgraded to the premium package was for the festival week, was for their Opens, was for their more prestigious member competitions, for the live leaderboard experience. And that really does obviously add value to those competitions. And now with the adoption of premium, we can do that for all member competitions.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to the mobile app. So again, we've already touched on this briefly, Colin. Obviously, you're utilising the BRS Golf scoring app, Carus Green, which is obviously fully integrated into the BRS Golf app. That is obviously an app built, which is a mirror version of the Golf Genius app, which Sean, you'll be utilising there.
Yep.
So I believe, Colin, from a sign-in perspective, once members have signed in, it's good to go. The integration works. You open up BRS, you click obviously competitions and events, or enter scores on a day of competition via BRS Golf, and it opens up the BRS Golf scoring app for score entry, that sort of thing. Sean, slightly different at Blairgowrie. I'm not sure you have member accounts created, but actually, from a special event perspective, are you providing golfers with a GGID login on the day?
Yeah, that's correct. Going back to the email section, part of what we send out in an email is the Golf Genius identification codes that you see in front of you now, and that allows them access to the app, and they can see the whole member portal within the app there, and it's a fantastic feature.
So I'm assuming, Colin, for open competitions and things like that, it's similar for yourselves, just handing out GGIDs to each group to create that live leaderboard and things for players when they're entering scores.
Yeah, we certainly can. Yeah, and do.
Okay, so then we just got some screen views of the score entry. Obviously, we've got more casual play score entry here. If one player per group entering the scores, we also have the digital scorecard functionality. Just from your side, Colin, are you utilising the digital scorecard functionality rather than just score entry most of the time?
No, we're using the score entry one rather than the digital one there for the two. So typically, it was sort of hang up from COVID, really. We get one person in the group of four to fill a card in, and one person to run the mobile app, putting all four scores in, and we use that as our verification process for the time being.
Good stuff. And then finally, leaderboard view in there as well. In terms of when you're running events, what's the sort of general member reaction, to the Golf Genius app? Do you always make, visibility of the leaderboards for the full round, or do you ever hide the scores after a number of holes? We know certainly for shotgun starts and things that works quite well if you hide the leaderboard after 14 or 15 holes.
Yeah, we certainly hide ours after 14, and sometimes it's off altogether. Some members, they don't trust other members. They don't just trust some other members, so they like to see it hidden after a certain amount of time. Anyway.
Cool. And yourself, Sean?
No. Yeah, no, absolutely. We're hosting next week. I think that's 14 holes and it cuts off. But mainly for our Opens, we do keep it running. But as I say, good feedback on that. And it's a good bit of fun when it stops after, say, 16. Well, I think one of them was at the start of 16 holes, and everybody's like, "Why is it stopped after 16?" And you're like, "Well, we'll find out the results after dinner." So it's quite good fun in that regard. It keeps everybody engaged and keeps everybody guessing for a bit longer. So yeah, it keeps the chat in the dining room good fun.
Great stuff. Coming to event portals, obviously these feed directly from the directories. Again, we've got a view here, really nice looking portal of yours, Colin, at Carus Green. So we can see obviously some of the information that you've got on here, sort of landing page, handicap analysis, where players can obviously view playing handicaps and the calculations, rules, which again, I suppose, you may set for the season for all events, but there may be specific tournament rules. Anything else that you're sort of adding to those portals, Colin?
Yeah, basically, you can customize these portals for all the different events. So the Race to Carus one has the season points on it. We've got our Wilson and Morris Trophy, which is 4 or 5 medals, and there's an overall winner one for that after the best 3 from 5, I think it is on that one. So all these different things will appear depending on what the event is.
Yeah. And Sean, from your point of view, again, I know you do a really good job on the presentation of these portals, but have you found, there's any specific information that you like to share on there, and what's, again, sort of engagement been? Do you find that the members quite enjoy the idea of being able to sort of instantly view results same day rather than waiting for competitions to close off? It's, sort of readily available on the same day of play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's readily available through the portal, and they can keep tabs on things. But also, if we, straight away after the competition, we post the link to the portal on all our social medias and open up for everybody to be able to have access to as well, so that they can all see the results. And that's a big thing, to communicate the results at the club. So, but yeah, the big one for me here is probably the handicap analysis section as well, because there's always things change every couple of years or so, every year or so, and things are calculated slightly differently, and it's good to be able to show all the players basically how their handicap's been calculated. It takes that element of doubt in their head that there's something untoward, and it shows you the calculation as well. So all these different features that you have here are good to help them facilitate your day runnings very, very smoothly.
Brilliant. And finally, print materials. So, we do have a comprehensive, extensive library of materials available for all of our customers, including reports, scorecards, obviously label printing, T-sheets, pin sheets, buggy signs, and plenty of other things. But Sean, again, any, sort of standouts that, again, that you were able to introduce to the membership off the back of bringing Golf Genius into the club?
Yeah, I must admit that the scorecards are one of the major plus points for myself, certainly, and from feeding back to you guys, one of the big plus points are the scorecards. The way you can personalise and customise a scorecard is it makes it a very personal feel, as I said before, with other things, but this really does. And I mean, we had a Texas Scramble actually the other week, and we used a customised scorecard, and we had 4 lines. Basically, everybody had 3 drives each, which means all the person checking at the end had to look for 3 crosses in the box to say that the person had their drive. So you can actually make it really straightforward. The feedback from the players on that particular scorecard was positive as well. There was a number of comments saying that they liked the cards in comparison to the other ones we've run before as well. So yeah, it's a really good feature that we use. We use it for all our opens. You can colour coordinate them. You can do different bits and bobs with them, and it is a fantastic feature, I must admit.
And yourself, Colin, are you utilising many of the sort of reports readily available today?
I tend to create a report for the T-sheet in the morning with all the handicaps on it. So Dave then sees the playing handicap, the course handicap, etc. And from a refereeing side of it, we use the pace of play for all the Falder Series tournaments. And we make that available on the app as well. Good.
Yeah, pace of play is very good, whether you've got, certain people on the course that are keeping an eye on that, or even actually adding the pace of play to each group scorecard, giving them a gentle reminder of what time it should be by the time they've reached the halfway house, which is always good. And then finally, just sponsor promotions. So, Colin, we've obviously got some feedback here on some of the stuff you've done at Carus Green, but Sean, very quickly first, I know you do sort of a large number of corporate charity days. Have you found that the product's been able to sort of help you promote them further and get their products in front of the guests on the day?
Absolutely, because when they send in their logos to us, we can have it printed on the scorecards and all the reports and on the TV screens, basically. So you can upload their logo, their company logo into the portal, and it displays for them as well. So it helps them as well as looking good on our side as well. So yeah, absolutely, that's how we've used it before, and it's been a fantastic feature.
And something from the Carus side, Colin, from our discussions, I think this year, maybe last year as well, a local BMW dealership is sponsoring most of the member competitions there. So using tools within Golf Genius, I know you're finding that useful now and promoting that sponsorship.
Yeah, certainly. The leaderboards and all these type of things for all the BMW stuff, they've got their logos up the top left and top right, places like that. Plus also, I know I have to go back and get Kyle to talk to one of your fellas who was going to help him with some of the promotional stuff. I think it might have been Tom, but we'll come back to that another day.
Yeah, I mean, one of the areas where a lot of our customers are now finding benefit is also from digital hole sponsorships. Obviously, more and more golfers now utilising, hole by hole live scoring, and the ability to actually add, mobile banners on each hole. Most golf clubs already have, hole sponsors with a T sign, so the ability to actually display that in the mobile app as well, enabling clubs to actually drive some additional revenue through that, which is very positive. Okay, so post-event, coming towards the back end now. I know we're sort of pushing for time, so quickly focusing on full integration with the World Handicap System. Alex, I'll let you take the lead here on some of the features available and some of the stuff that you're doing with Colin. Sean, thanks already for touching on the handicap analysis. We've obviously got a screenshot there of that. But Alex, over to you to run through the full integration with WHS.
Yeah, so obviously Golf Genius has got a full connection to WHS, and we're expanding that around the world now. So we've just connected up to Spanish WHS, and we've got conversations going on with other countries in Europe. But importantly, we can pull down the handicaps from England Golf, for example, using that local example, and we can automatically post scores back to WHS to save time. Make sure that the handicaps are correct overnight. If there's another competition on the next day, we can obviously pull down those handicaps and just keep repeating the process.
Great stuff. And obviously, Colin, for the majority of your member events, obviously we connect your master roster directly to the World Handicap System database. So that's obviously very simple in that process. But coming more to sort of open competitions and being able to verify members, and obviously your report identifying any errors, have you found that beneficial as well in terms of being able to quickly look up the correct CDH number for any errors that people have perhaps provided?
Yes, it's the worst thing we've had is or visitors who don't put the right CDH number in, and then you're thinking, why is that not? As soon as you press the button, it does the sync. It doesn't recognize it. Then you have to start looking, and thankfully now we've got the home club on there, so we can start finding that person's actual CDH number, and it's not 11111. They're just lazy, some people.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most popular CDH number in the UK. I think.
Yes. I think we've got around that one now. We've given them longer to fill in the details online. That was part of the issues. No, but honestly, again, when you do run the report, it comes back and tells you which ones are correct and which ones you've got issues with. And then sometimes Dave's got to sit there and go, excuse me, what is your CDH number, please? And they get the information on the day. But that's a minor downside, really.
Yeah, very good. And with regards to the sort of handicap analysis section, we can see here, obviously, the calculation being made, which you touched on already, Sean. But in terms of integration with the World Handicap System for member guest days, do you find it makes life a little bit easier for identifying, the correct CDH numbers for members' guests?
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I say, as Colin touched upon there, having the home club as well for any errors as well. I've been typed in. It's quite quick and easy to find the right person. So no, it's been certainly a good feature. That's one that's well used.
Brilliant. Okay, and then just to sort of summarise from a results perspective, obviously lots of different touch points available. Gives you opportunity to again further engage with members, guests, visitors. Colin, just touch on some of the places perhaps where you share final results and how you get that out to the players.
The main one there is we tend to email at the end of the day, because a lot of the older fellas especially won't bother looking on their mobile phones. Some don't even have those. And direct comes, so on the portal, we've got that there as well. And Dave tends to do a social media one at the end of the Saturday comps as well, just so that they've got multiple ways where they can find the results and see the name in lights.
Yeah, that's it. Great stuff. And Sean, I suspect very similar from yourself, but do you find it sort of easier to help share results across social media and things like that? And again, coming to open competitions, the ability for players to keep an eye on that leaderboard once they've played and gone home on the same day?
Yeah, absolutely. Social media is a big one for us in terms of getting out there straight away as soon as the competition's closed off and having the results there ready to publish, everybody can see. It's actually one of the ones I would say it's really good for us from our perspective, is we actually run our Cup Championship Finals Day knockout match plays on Golf Genius now, and being able to communicate that to the members, getting out through emails and also through Facebook as well, or social media in general, is really handy. So people can keep an eye on it from home and stuff like that. It's a very good feature. The portal is excellent in that regard.
Great stuff. And the last slide before we go into the Q&A, just Alex, over to you from a support standpoint as product manager.
Well, I think we pride ourselves on 24-hour support. We've got customers all around the world, so we do need to provide support across all time zones. But I think Colin, I think you've had a pretty good experience with the account management team, our support team, throughout your use of the product. Is there anything you want to add to that?
I'd just like to say how quick it's been sometimes. I mean, some of them have been silly mistakes on my part or someone else's part, but the guys have got back to us very quickly. And that's happened more than 3 or 4 times. And I feel like in the previous system we used, we weren't getting that level of support. But certainly now we are. I'm not just saying that because you're there. It happens every time. And even when it's down to our American colleagues chipping in.
Yep. Very good.
It can help. And Sean, from your side, from a support perspective, how have you found, Golf Genius and working with the team?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. The team's great. I'll give a wee shout out to Jenny as well, because she's been excellent dealing with me over the last couple of a year and a half, nearly 2 years now, I think. So even then, as Colin says, we had our club championship finals, we had a 36-hole final, 18 holes on one course, 18 holes on another, and trying to do a continuous 36-hole final. And I couldn't see how it was done. And it was 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and I hit the help button on the right-hand side, and before the final started on the Sunday, the issue was solved. So it's a 24-hour service. The whole team are fantastic, and they'll never let me down, certainly. Let's put it that way.
Great stuff. Well, look, thank you both for your input today. Just run through some of those questions that have come in. So let me just get those open now. Okay. Okay, so Alex, one of the questions that's come in from chap: do you charge golf societies a surcharge to use Golf Genius for live scoring?
Probably more a question for Sean.
Well, that's it. I think, from our side, certainly not. But I think, as a benefit of utilizing Golf Genius, it allows you to obviously drive revenue through the product as a cost of goods. So yeah, Sean, I know you do plenty of golf days. Are you charging for the service?
That is something that we have looked at doing, and I have done in the past. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously for charity days, we tend to throw Golf Genius in for the charity. But for the kind of corporate days, there's a small surcharge there to use it, but it elevates the event. So it's something we have done, and it's good for your club in terms of getting extra revenue through using the system.
Great stuff. And Colin, not so sure you do too much from a sort of society and golf day perspective, but if you do, is it something that you as a club have considered?
Certainly, I've considered. I mentioned it to Kyle on that side of things, saying that we could. It's a little bit of background work for us to do, but if they're paying for a service, why not? And again, it's like Sean says, it does elevate that whole experience.
I think
they also would see the screens in the clubhouse.
The other angle, obviously, the question is relating to golf societies, but it doesn't need to be just golf societies that you charge a surcharge for. You could do it for open competitions as well.
Yeah.
Very good. Alex, little question for you. Golf Genius text and email. How does this fit in with BRS? Where does Golf Genius pick up email addresses and mobile numbers from?
So with the BRS integration, we pull the email address through from BRS. Mobile numbers at the moment, we don't pull through from BRS. They would need to be manually added, but we can do that via a spreadsheet upload. So that's not really a problem. And maybe we'll look at in the future, we can pull through the, we can improve the integration and pull through mobile phone numbers there too. But essentially, we would manage the emails and text messages either at an account level in Golf Genius and send out, emails and text messages to the whole membership, or you can filter based on that. Or as Sean and Colin have both alluded to on the call, they've sent out emails and text messages to the field of that competition.
Great stuff. And when it comes to a master roster sync, Alex, for a membership, is it the same, or once you've synced that membership up, pulling through all the information from a player record in BRS, you don't necessarily need to update the data in 2 places, do you?
No, it's all in the BRS setup. The BRS is the main master database. So if the email changes in BRS, for example, it will change in Golf Genius. You don't need to press a button there. It will take care of itself.
Excuse me, just to add to that one, what is really handy is when Dave inputs a new member into BRS, overnight, the 3 or 4 of us that manage the Golf Genius side of the system, we get an email to say, Joe Bloggs is just joining the system, and then we can quickly go in there to Golf Genius, check him in the master roster, and if we want to add a couple of extra fields like the mobile number that you just mentioned, we just do it ourselves, and that's job done.
Yeah, that's it. You can obviously add those additional fields to the sort of master roster and event registration forms to collect as much information as you like from your players. Very good. And one further question: do you need to manually update from WHS, or does it happen automatically? So just to come back to that question, you've got flexibility of doing both. You can obviously set up from a membership standpoint your overnight updates, and then at an event level, again, you can set up overnight updates. You can schedule an update the day before or the morning of. But you also have the tools, the flexibility to be able to do a manual update at any point that you wish as well. Colin, from a membership perspective, I suspect that's, very helpful knowing that member handicaps are obviously correct when you turn up on competition days.
Yeah, definitely. And if we've been unsure any time, I just quickly press the button and sync it on the morning just before the comp starts, so we know that's fully up to date.
Yeah, very good. So one final question. Look at it from two angles. Alex, first of all, through BRS. So how do you deal with charging members in club competitions? Obviously, when members are booking at point of through BRS. If you want to just talk a little bit about how we're charging members in that perspective for competitions.
So in that regard, Colin, just correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Carus used that feature in BRS,
No.
do you?
Dave takes the money.
To cash in, debit cards in the pro shop. But
yeah.
Obviously there is a need at some golf clubs to have the members' wallets. Now BRS handles that on their side, and you can take BRS can debit the funds at the time of booking into a competition. And then members can obviously see their balance in the BRS app and top up as well.
Yeah, and from a sort of Golf Genius standalone perspective, what we're currently doing, if you're running member competitions, members are obviously able to, and we've got many clubs up and down the UK, the Addington being one of those, utilising Golf Genius for all member competitions, where a member first of all adds their credit card details up front, and then it saves their details. So each time they're entering a competition, it's just deducting off of those saved credit card details. Member wallet is something that we're sort of paying particular focus to here in the UK, and something that we'd like to be able to offer from a Golf Genius standpoint at some point in the future. Sean, from your perspective, just to sort of finish up, in terms of when your members are entering competitions, are they using that facility where they can obviously add credit card details and pay at point of booking?
So for our open competitions, basically, Jake, yeah, so we'll have it all preset. So at the time when you're setting up the competition, you can set the entry fee, and then they'll go in and they'll pay and pay through that way, and before they take their tea time, basically. So we'll have it all preset at the time when we're setting up the registration. And basically that's how the kind of payment works from our side of things. And then we get a report and they're able to do all the prizes and stuff from the reports that we get from that.
Great stuff. Brilliant. Well, look, we'll finish there. We've gone over a little bit longer than expected. I think we were sort of expecting between 35 and 45 minutes, and we're just under an hour. But look, it's been a really, really good conversation. Colin, Sean, again, really appreciate you spending some time here to talk with other golf clubs about how Golf Genius is helping at your club, providing with a little bit more information. For everybody that has joined today's webinar, the next webinar of the series will be on the 24th of October at 3 o'clock. That webinar will be focusing on the value of technology for improving your golf retail through Golf Shop and offering your sort of benefits across retail operation and custom fitting. So Colin, Sean, once again, thank you very much for joining us today. And yeah, look forward to catching up with you all a little bit later.